What's going on, everyone? So in this video, I'm going to be doing a trade recap, a little different. This week has been very volatile, so the talking while trading has been really tough. So just to switch things up, I'm going to do a recap here, and this is going to be a recap from March 4th. I took 5 trades. I traded Tesla and Boeing, and I had 4 winners and made $1,744 on the day. But before we get into that, just to talk about the market, this is SPY right here. SPY's getting a little beat up, but if you look at the longer term picture, it's still strong. I mean, 2020 was a heck of a year. I know a lot of people had record years, did really well, and this just goes to show why trading is so tough, because you have to be around for numerous market conditions and environments, so that way you know that the way you traded in one and did really well is not necessarily the way that you can trade the next one, and being able to adapt is very important. And when the market is going straight up, everybody's a good trader. But as of 2021, looking at this environment, this is where it gets really tough, and you have to be very skilled in order to be profitable. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are having a tough time, and rightfully so. This is not easy to trade. The last couple weeks, I've actually done all right. So for the first 6 weeks of the year, I struggled. I had a tough time trading. And then I was able to take a step back and realize that, and then adjust my strategy just slightly, and it's paid off. One of the main things that I've changed, which I've talked about prior, is not taking the quick patterns off the open. Really just waiting. Let things do what they have to do, shake out, and then when the market as a whole picks a direction, I scalp trend. So now knowing that, let's get into the technicals on Tesla and Boeing from March 4th. So Tesla's been getting absolutely wrecked, and it really all started when it lost the 9 EMA and the 20 SMA, had a bit of a sell-off, and it's been riding the 9 EMA all the way down, and it had this big gap down day, which was very excessive. It got bought up, but since then, it hasn't been able to get back above the 9 EMA. And on this day right here, March 2nd, it rejected the 9 pretty aggressively, and then on the 3rd, had a big follow-through day, and this showed that sellers are clearly in control, took out this prior pivot low area right around 660, and then it had this pivot low from that big gap down day at 619, and it just kind of felt like it had a chance to test that. But in order to do that, it first has to take out prior day's low. So the levels that I was looking to trade around was that low, which was 651.71, pre-market high 661.99, and pre-market low 636. And now getting into Boeing, Boeing has looked pretty good. This has showed a lot of relative strength through all the craziness in the market, and I feel like it's because this is somewhat of a reopening play. Had a big momentum candle on February 24th, looked like it was going to take that out, held the short-term moving averages, finally got above that. This put in a decent candle that was a bit of a topping tail, but the next day it was gapping up. So I was thinking that if there was anybody who shorted this strength, if it gets above this high, they're probably going to start to feel some pain. So some of the basic levels that I was trading around was prior day's high, 235.40, and pre-market high, 234.47. And I was watching a few other names as well, and now it was about just watching them all together and trying to see if any one of them can put in a clean setup. Okay, so the first trade is going to be on Boeing, and I really wish that Boeing had a little bit of a pullback off the open, so it could have given me a very clean opening range break. It pretty much just went straight up. I mean, there was kind of this quick flag pattern at 235, but with the current environment, I'm really trying to wait for very clean patterns rather than just chasing strength or chasing weakness. So I just sat back and waited. Boeing had a big push up to 237. Now it's starting to consolidate. It did come off the lows pretty far, so I'm aware of that, and you'll see that I actually changed my size. So I want to take this trade, but just knowing that the environment currently has been more of a sell the rip situation, I wanted to be safe, so instead of trading 5 contracts, which I have loaded in my order entry, I sized down to 3. But this is starting to look okay. So I had a big push, pulled back to the 9. It's holding the 9 above VWAP. I changed the size right there, coming up to 237. If it gets through 237, I thought it had a little bit more upside room. So I end up going long 3 contracts right there. I got filled at 332. And pretty quickly that rejects. Still above that 236.50 area, but if it gets below that, I just need to get out, especially in the current environment where it's been much more of a sell the rip situation. A lot of times when these breakouts can fail, they can pull back very aggressively. So just watching, if it loses this 236.50, I'm going to get out of it, just take a quick small loss, and then move on. It breaks 236.50 and I get out of the trade right there. So it sucks that the first trade of the day was a loss, but I think I did a pretty good job because that was supposed to go right away, just based on my style, based on what I like to see, and it didn't. Pulled in about 50 cents and I just bailed on it. So I got filled on the contracts at 332 and ended up getting out at 305. So it took a small loss. Had I held it, this would have got a lot worse. And I tell you, not having the P&L on my screen helps a lot because I'm not looking at the red number. I'm just waiting to see, are there any other good setups left? So that has definitely been huge and helped my trading a lot. So now the next trade is on Tesla. Tesla finally clearly showed a direction. To be honest, if I was really aggressive, a pretty good entry would have been right around 660, 650, 750. But after that, it just kind of went straight down. It took out prior day's low, so let me know that sellers were clearly in control. Now I just wanted to wait for a flag pattern. That looks like a very clean flag pattern. Got up to the 9 EMA, rejected it. Now Tesla's very volatile. I was probably a little too patient with this, but that just had a huge move down. And I felt pretty confident that this had the next leg lower. Still wanted to be careful, but I gave this a couple minutes on the break of that flag. Now because Tesla clearly picked a direction, I felt more comfortable with the trade. So I ended up taking 5 640 puts. I got filled at 16.95. The moment it starts to speed up, I need to consider getting out of this trade. And this did go against me a little bit, moved right back up to the 9 EMA, but clearly rejected. So just showing that sellers are now in control. And that looks like another nice flag pattern. So right around 641, that's the area I'm looking at. If it loses it, I feel really good about this going lower. Loses 641 right there. Tape started to speed up. Very aggressive move. And now as this starts to go lower, I need to consider just getting out of the trade. I know that if I was patient, there was a lot more to be had on this. But you know me, I'm a scalper. I get the quick move. I just take it. And just looking at the time and sales, you can see 639, every whole number, it just continuously keeps going right through it. So instantly dropped about a point, coming into 638, already nicely in the money. So now this is coming into 638, and I just want to see how does it react to that whole number. Does it break or does it bounce? Looked like it was going to go through, and then it bounced about a point and a half, and I just got out of the trade right there. And it was a nice scalp. I got filled 16.95 and ended up taking those off at 18.80, so almost 2 points per contract. So here's the next trade. Tesla is clearly in a downtrend. Now I just want to try to take advantage of those flags. And you'll see I traded 5 on that first trade. But because Tesla is continuously going lower, and I know that sometimes these flags that are extended can bounce, I end up sizing down. So I switch to the 635 puts. I only take 3. I want to be careful because I'm green, but that looks like a nice flag pattern coming into the whole number 636, break 635, low a day is 634.46. Feel like this can continue. And then now that these are extended flags to the downside, the moment that I get a move in my favor, I'm just getting out. So that was a big move, very quick, and I end up just taking profits right there on that scalp. I was only in the trade for 11 seconds and made a little over $1.50 on the contracts. So right now, I am clearly in the driver's seat, and I just want to continue to see if these flag patterns have downside follow through. And with the market just falling aggressively, I feel pretty good about it. So now what I'm making sure to do is size down every time now because I'm nicely green. I don't want to take too big a size and screw up my day. But this looks pretty good. Right around that 625 area, starting to look like another flag pattern. But I am making sure to be careful because continuously chasing this lower, it only takes the one time where that doesn't go through, and this can come back on you pretty hard, and that's where those big losses can come from. So I'm looking at the 625 puts, no reason to size up, nicely green, I don't want to screw that up, but had a nice push, rejected right there again, comes to 625, I end up taking that, I got a pretty good entry, very quick move, coming into 624, breaks it, very nice move below 624, new low a day. Tape really started to speed up, so the moment that this slows down, I need to just get out of the trade, and kind of right there, started to bounce, and I just got out of it. So that was another very fast trade, but when Tesla can get going, you can get these crazy moves very quick. So I was only in the trade for 16 seconds, and I got $1.17 on the contracts. So this is my 5th trade of the day. I'm already kind of getting up there with the amount of trades that I like to take, but this is probably my best trade because I took quick profits. Had I been patient with this, I would have taken a big loss. So I already know that Tesla has come off the highs a lot, but if it breaks the 625, it looks pretty good. So I end up getting short 3 625 puts. I got filled at 1942. That looks like a nice flag pattern, but it did have a pretty big move from right around 617. So this may not go test the lows right away. I wanted to give it a chance, broke the 625, not really going as quick as I wanted to see that go. So get a little bit of a dip, clearly struggling, broke 624, pops right back above it. So you can see that follow through is not there. It's not the same kind of follow through as it was having before. And also now 4 red candles in a row. So I really want to see that go pretty quick, give me a lot of cushion on the contracts, And then the moment that that starts to bounce back against me, I end up just taking them off right there for a very small win. And the reason why I did that is because, yes, it did look like a flag pattern, but this is some pretty big buying right here. I mean, this just came from 617 all the way up to 630. And when this pulled back to kind of right around the 50% of that move, and it just did not go lower, I felt like that could possibly be a short-term bottom. And in situations like this, I've noticed that the more it consolidates, the better. And if I try to take trades in the middle of that consolidation, I can really get chopped up. But the reason why I'm happy about this is because I just got out. I didn't get too stubborn. I didn't hold it like sometimes I'm guilty of doing. And as you can see right here, this really starts to have a nice push to the upside. And had I held those contracts, I would have taken a decent loss. And that right there can kind of be the situation where I really start to feel emotions because I was doing really good, I was in control, and then I took a decent sized loss. And sometimes that can get me going, and then I can overtrade. So even though this was the smallest win on the day, I feel like this was my best trade. And Tesla did end up going a lot lower. It actually got to 600. But after that huge move off the high, it just needed more time to consolidate and then eventually break that 617 low to get more follow through. And that's why some of my favorite setups are when stocks are consolidating right towards those lows or right towards the highs, because when they break, they should go pretty quick. When I try to overly anticipate stuff, that's where I can get caught. So it was a volatile day, but I feel like I did a pretty good job. Made 920 on the 640 puts, made 483 on the 635s, 427 on the 625s, and only lost 85 on the Boeing setup that just did not work out. And after those 5 trades, I had 4 winners, all on Tesla to the short side, which is funny because I know I talk about I prefer to go long than short, but the trend was clearly telling me to scalp to the short side and ended up making $1,744. Hopefully you've been navigating the markets all right. You're not getting too hurt. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.